All right, let's get you the top voice segment on the show. We have Jeremy Miller, who is a data reporter of the Washington Post, joining me to really understand the kind of influence that Elon Musk wields and how significant that is. Jeremy, thanks so much for joining me from Georgia. Let me start by asking you, you've been crunching the data numbers. What do they suggest in terms of the reach that Elon Musk has?
Yeah, absolutely. What we found is that Elon Musk's audience on Twitter is humongous and is far, far bigger than any other political figure in the United States. So, for instance, his tweets got 133 billion views, 133 million views between July and December. And that's more than 16 times President-elect Donald Trump, and more than 16 times the audience of all of the members of the US Congress combined. So that's just a huge amount of visibility for one man, who, especially in the run-up to the US election about a month or 6 weeks ago, more than 40% of Elon Musk's posts were about politics. And we've seen him using this megaphone to influence US politics, even yesterday, when he sent a couple of tweets expressing his unhappiness with a bill in the US Congress. And just a few hours later, that bill was withdrawn. And so for someone who is not elected, not appointed, doesn't have an official government role, that's just really novel.
I know what you're saying in terms of an unelected person having that kind of a power, but is this really unprecedented? Because that also will make me ask you the kind of impact this could have in terms of US policy making going forward.
Right. I mean, that's an important question. It's a difficult one to answer with data, but we know that he's been expressing his opinions on Twitter and privately to President-elect Donald Trump, his opinion on appointees, of the finance secretary, treasury secretary, for instance, as well as that bill I mentioned. And his views here are his opinions here are seen by just huge numbers of people whenever he wants to. And whether you agree with him or not, obviously affects how you think about that. But it is really just an interesting phenomenon.
But Jeremy, think about it. He's the owner of the platform. Why on earth will he not use the platform to gain power if he can?
Yeah, I mean, whether you think it's good or bad, that's up to you. He does own the platform, and we have seen him make some algorithmic changes, and to the point where people see a lot more content. If you think about how Twitter used to work 10 years ago, your feed was just the tweets from people who you chose to follow in order. Now it's ordered by this sort of complicated and opaque algorithm that chooses a bunch of tweets to show you. They might be from people you follow, or they might be ones that the algorithm has picked for you. And we know anecdotally that a lot of people who don't follow Elon Musk see his tweets anyways, which is probably where some of those views come from. You could say, oh, well, these are really popular tweets, so it might be that people do want to see them. And that's not a question I can really answer. But it does lead to this result of him getting a huge amount of attention from people who use the website.
All right, Jeremy Miller, thanks much for speaking to me. This is a story that we're going to come back to simply because Elon Musk is said to be so important in the next US administration.